knows how to stand up for herself, and other than once hiding in a closet in school, she doesn't let her classmates' comments bring her down. Even when she was at a disability conference, it was like a camp conference. She tried to include them more and, talk about them. Or, like typical white people think they're doing a good thing, but in reality they're just making fun of people and think that disabled or non-white people just have it so hard in life that they really need help and that type of stuff. And Ro kind of went along because she was doing it for a friend. Or like at first, the friend also to go with her to the disability thing, and Ro was like, "No way! If you only are friends with me because of that, then I don't want to be friends with you." But then when she found out that the friend's father is counting on the friend, then she went along just to make her friend happy. But once the friend started talking about how she's so disabled and everything, Rose stood up for herself and continued the speech alone and told everyone how disabled people aren't immediately helpless. Some of them can have a perfectly normal life and everything, and they're humans too. They should be treated as humans and not as helpless people who can't do anything. And how ridiculous this disability conference basically is and everything, which made the friend's father so angry. But everyone else, I think, kind of got the message. And the friend also was happy that who could still stand up for herself like that. So yeah, it's not the same. And also after that conference, where the dad, like the father of the friend, was really upset about that. And also because the friend's father got really angry, he told the friend that Ro and her can't hang out anymore because he simply doesn't want them to see together anymore because he thinks Ro is a bad influence on her and everything like that, just because she ruined her heroism, basically, typical white people being upset about it. But Ro also stood up for that, told the father that it's unfair for him to forbid her daughter to not see Ro just because he doesn't like Ro's dad and everything. So it's definitely not the typical school bully story because Ro knows how to stand up for herself and doesn't let anyone control her just because she's a little disabled. So yeah, that's really what I liked. What I didn't like was that it got a bit cliche with her dad having a crush on Ro's teacher, female teacher obviously, and they kind of went on a date as well, and it seemed like it was going good and everything. I didn't really like it because I didn't ship them and it was very cliche. Typical trope where one parent is single because the other parent died, and you can't just be a single dad raising a kid alone because, oh god, the kid needs a mother and everything, like that kind of shit. Not really a fan of that trope. Plus, I didn't reship them. But it didn't end cliche. The ending wasn't what I expected from the book. It got a good ending. I'm not gonna spoil her, but it turned out good in the end for me. Yeah, on another good note, I also got quite emotional, which I didn't expect from that rather humorous book overall. But yeah, except for that little cliche, overall it was a very nice book that focuses more on Rose's problem with her dad's embarrassing situations, because he constantly embarrasses her no matter what he does. I admit he is a little unique, but I also have a dad that is rather unique, rather funny, and doesn't really care what others think about him. So while I totally get Rue how embarrassing that can be sometimes, I find that kind of that's better than Amanda's dad, friend's father, that is like making disability conferences too weird. So I'd rather have funny dads that are just free spirited and everything. So yeah, and in the end, Rip also realized that having a dad that is really funny and everything makes her life better after all. He wouldn't want to have any other dad. So yeah, it focuses really on that embarrassment rather than her being mute. You know, the only problem that she has with her disability is at school because her classmates don't really want to accept that or just like to make fun of different people, and that's really the only problem where her disability is a problem. But other than that, you can see that she can live with that disability freely and it doesn't affect her life. It's a really good message, especially for kids. Wonderful children's book that show that not all disabled people are helpless and have a complete, like a silent voice is a good manga, but it really puts to the front how helpless some disabled people are, and I know being deaf and mute isn't the same, but while a silent voice goes more to the dramatic part, this is more a positive book with a lot of humor, and yeah, while there is a lot of humor, it is still very realistic, kept almost as realistic it can get for that type of adventurous stories. So yeah, definitely if you're a parent and want to teach your kids about disability, I would definitely recommend this book. The writing style also is very smooth, easy to read for all ages. So yeah, it's definitely enjoyable and recommendable for all ages. Everyone can learn from that. Even adults can have so yeah, very quick read, but fun nonetheless. And I'll definitely buy it a second